Hey everyone, I hope everyone's had a wonderful weekend so far. So I guess what I want to focus on um, is that recently we had a youth who is 17 years old, almost 18 years old, who had several custodial episodes, been in residential facilities before getting out of foster care and coming over to juvenile justice probation, that ended up violating his probation, and the courts deemed him an imminent risk for safety, not only to himself but as well as to the community. So, although I couldn't change the outcome of him entering custody, I could have changed the outcome of how I approached him. So, when he was initially court ordered to be come into custody, I went to place handcuffs and shackles on him, which ended up causing him to panic. And he ended up taking off, pushing me and the officer down at the courthouse in his attempt to escape, where he wouldn't have to go back into a facility. So, although I was doing what I was supposed to be doing by shackling and cuffing him, I did not consider the emotions that he was going through. I never talked to him about how he felt beforehand. So it really made me reflect on what I could have done differently, because from his view, he was scared. He had never entered into juvenile justice custody before. He was overwhelmed. He felt like he had lost control. Again, he was being taken away from his family once again. And it was just way too much for him. So, if I had utilized motivational interviewing before we even went in for the court hearing, I would have known by asking open-ended questions exactly how he was feeling, what his expectations were, and I could have possibly alleviated some of the stress that he was feeling. And I also would have known that he was planning on trying to escape. That way I could have prevented that from happening as well. It wasn't until after he was reapprehended that I asked him why we did that, where he was able to share that, he did not want to come back into custody. He did not want to go into a juvenile justice facility, that he felt like everyone had already viewed him as a failure to society, where he was going to end up in prison when he became an adult one day anyways. By then utilizing motivational interviewing, we was able to help him stay regulated and feel more supported, and was able to make it seem as not a stressful event, because he knew exactly what he was looking at and what the expectations were from him. So I do think that if I had made sure that I'd paid attention as well to his social cues, his body language, that I would have known that he was overwhelmed, and I could have talked with him in more depth as well to help determine what we could do where he wouldn't be so overwhelmed, and to let him know that we understand that this is a difficult time, but this is what we have to do in order to be able to get back home to our families. So putting it back on him, in his hands, of how quickly he can get out of treatments.